Good morning and welcome to another episode of Airtime John in conversation with, and today I've got a little treat for you. I have got, actually, before I start, I'm wearing these because we're actually recording this one in the morning. It's a bit of a new thing, but my fault. We were meant to do it last night and we've decided to do it today. That's right. Anyway, right, let me put them back on for the introduction. So today we have got, there's only one of me. What am I talking about? It's early. Go with it. I have got a local Liverpoolian actor by the name of Charlie.griffiths. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning, mate. You all right?
You're right. I said that introduction like I don't know you. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit weird.
I
know. I've known Charlie for years, but yeah. So I just thought I'd ask Charlie to come on today, and maybe have a little chat about being an actor. I'm an actor as well, as you know. I'll drop it in enough, but So I thought it'd be another interesting topic to talk about our sorts of journeys as actors. Journey,
deep.
No, the word journeys. When people say my journey, it's like binge in it. But yeah, and also about mental health in the arts and being, an actor and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for asking me.
Yeah. How are you feeling? I'm not very good with like podcasts and things like that.
I feel all right. Yeah, I'm still waking up a bit. I'm a bit of a night owl. You're more of a morning person. I'm a bit of a night owl.
I know, but you look great. I'm looking to be. That's the thing, right? I'm looking at this and I'm going, I can tell it's morning, and I am a morning person. But you look fantastic.
I'm by the window. I've got a ring light. It's hiding all the air. I'll wrinkles. Good lighting, innit? It's good lighting.
Is that a backdrop that you've got, or is it?
No, that's just my room. You can see me printer in the office.
Oh,
how professional.
I'd love an office. I would genuinely love an office.
It's basically a spare room. Just a spare room.
All right, I'll rephrase. I would love a spare room. This flat is absolutely tiny. But anyway, listen, we could go on all day. By the way, me and Charlie have been chatting for about 20 minutes before this. So, we've covered most of our topics we were going to talk about. We've done it all wrong, Charlie. We've done it all wrong.
I know, yeah. I know.
Next time, I'll just hit record as soon as you pop up on Zoom. We've covered some brilliant topics while you wasn't watching.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the first thing I want to touch on, I suppose, is obviously being an actor yourself. Is how did you get into being an actor? Because it's one of them questions, isn't it, that people always ask you.
Yeah, it's a cliche, innit? But I started. I know it's like I've always been acting, but genuinely, I've since I can remember, I've always loved performing. Like that annoying kid. I was that annoying kid who would get all my family to sit down. I'd boss my mates about going, this is what we're doing this play, we're doing this, and you're going to say this, you're going to say that, you're going to do this, just take control. And so I've always been performing, really. And the very first play I'd ever done was in primary school, and it was Santa's Gone Hip. I still remember it. And I played one of the elves.
Oh, didn't even get Santa?
No, I didn't want Santa. That's the thing. Even then I was like, can I see the script, please? Can I see the role?
So I'm scared to ask, but what was the storyline of Santa Got Hip?
I think there's a clue in the name there, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, went hip.
I thought it might have been a little bit more, arty than that, like a little bit more, what's the word?
Or that he was literally getting a new hip.
Santa got hip. Santa's journey through the hip replacement process.
Yeah. But that's basically.
It's funny that you should say that about because again, when people ask me that, you feel like you're telling the same story over and over again. But as cliche as it sounds, it is that, isn't it? Sometimes it's like it's in you as a child that you love to perform. And my earliest memory is, I remember, for those of you that are old enough to remember this, there was a Liverpoolian sitcom called Bread, and it was set in Liverpool, obviously. And it was about a family who were, all sorts of on the make, and they lived next door to the granddad. And the granddad used to like have this particular voice, and he'd just knock and he'd go, "Where's my dinner? What's for pudding?" And he had the same lines every single episode, and it was like always. But that was my in. Is I remember watching it and thinking I can do his voice, and I
Yeah.
started like doing impressions of this granddad, and all the family were laughing, and I got this buzz. I remember thinking, I like this feeling of people essentially paying me attention. Not that they didn't, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
the whole room looking at me and
making
laughing.
people happy, making people happy as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, that was it. It was that buzz of, making people laugh, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
cliche, like,
Always playing the idiot, always playing the
yeah.
idiot as well. That's
So
why I
what's
always drawn to those type of characters, the daft
yeah.
ones,
Well,
or
it's
yeah,
they tend to be the ones that make people laugh, don't they? The clowns,
yeah.
or the comic characters, or the silly ones, and the so like, what sort of kid would you say you was? Like, were you a shy
Oh,
kid? Were you extroverted?
I wasn't shy. I was annoying. I was annoying. I think back, and I really was like bossy, annoying. Had to be like the center of attention, which is so funny because as an adult, I'm so far removed from that. It's hilarious how much you change. But as a kid, I was always pushing myself, wanting to be in whatever was going on. If any drama, any dance, any music, anything that was going on, the choir, everything, I was in it. I was
Yeah.
always in it. I was that annoying kid.
See, I was gonna say, well, you probably weren't
Poor
annoying.
pops.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
you
poor
probably weren't an
pops.
annoying kid, but you probably was, actually, because I think I was probably a little bit annoying and still am.
Yeah,
But it's like, yeah, I think it's that thing, isn't it? Of like, I suppose on a deep level, we're sort of looking for attention, aren't we? Maybe because we're not feeling, I don't know, as confident as other kids. Because I
yeah,
know for me, I was very, very shy as a kid, very painfully shy. And then I had a period of playing that sort of character of, you know, getting the attention and liking it. Then I went painfully shy again. And it wasn't until I got into secondary school that I thought, oh, actually, yeah, this drama thing can really help me.
yeah. Yeah, it does. It really does. It was with drama when once I discovered that, oh, you could, because my sister, oh Claire, she was performing as well. She's 10 years older than me. She'll kill me for saying that. But but she went into acting, and she was training and stuff. She mainly did dance, to be honest, but she had to the whole performing arts. And so I was seeing that, and I was like, oh, I can actually do this. I can actually go and train to be a performer and actor. And yeah, I just loved it. It's always been there. It's always been there.
Yeah. I think, like, some people think it's too, like, I think that that's a common misconception. People think that it's something that's in you, because I don't know about you, but I get a lot of adults talking to me and they say, "Oh, I wish I could have got into that." But I mean, there are so many adult classes that you can go to now, isn't there? Like screen acting classes,
Yeah,
theatre groups, amateur dramatics. It's not something that I don't think you don't have to have been, some like, trained as a kid or a child actor to
yeah.
get into acting, do you?
No, no. I mean, I was really fortunate. I was really lucky because I was in. Sorry, the dogs are going wild. I
Don't
was
worry.
in. Always the way in it. I was. I was because you went to Everyman Youth Theatre, but we must have missed each other. And I was in Wirral Youth Theatre as well. And during the show, when I was about, I can't remember how old I was, but anyway, I was doing a show and I got spotted by an agent.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about agents or anything like that. And I got spotted, and that's how my professional work started. And from that, I was like, oh wow, so I can actually do this for a living.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
mad, isn't
so that's how I got into it professionally. Whereas the other times I was, throughout primary school, I was just doing it because I loved it.
Yeah. So you said there about you sort of like fell into it. Like, so did you go to any colleges, or was it just through the work experience?
No, no. Well, this is the thing. After I got my first professional job, and then on TV, and then from that, because as a kid you kind of think, oh, I've got this. you just take it in your stride, don't you? And I took it
Yeah.
for granted at the time. Totally took it for granted, thinking, oh well, this is it now. I'm the big shot. All the work's going to come in, and that's just not how it works. That's just not
No,
how
no.
it happened. There was a couple of commercials and things like that I did, and I was still doing theatre. And then once I was leaving school, I was like, I'm going to have to. Well, I had it in my head anyway that I was going to go and learn more, because I wanted to learn more about what I loved and wanted to perfect being an actor. And so that's how I did it, because it was like, you're not just, things aren't going to just land in your
No,
lap.
no.
I've got to understand the industry. I can't just be spotted and then that's it. I've got to understand behind the scenes and what happens and how to polish myself as an actor as well. And
Yeah.
so I went into training and things like that. And just you learn as you go, don't you? Really,
I,
you
I
learn on the job as well.
I think that that's the best way to learn, is on the job. Unfortunately, as you
Mhm.
know, as an actor, you it's catch 22 sometimes, because you can't get the work unless you've
Yeah.
it's hard to learn on the job as an actor, because there's not a lot of jobs going around, essentially, is what I
Mhm.
mean. So for me, I feel that training, it's another big question for anyone, any young actors watching. Is training necessary? Yes and no, I would say, because
Mhm.
if you can get like a bit of training behind you in a college or a youth group or a drama school or whatever it be, it can only help. It can only help, but it's not necessary at all. Because
Yeah,
there's a lot
totally
of
agree.
financial implications as well to like going to drama school and stuff like that. It's not. You can get funding through university now and stuff like that. Like, I got a normal student loan, even though it's like a
Mhm.
privatized drama school. It was called um, the Conservatoire of Dance and Drama, but they were affiliated through the University of Bristol. So I was able to get a normal sort of student loan to cover things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think, yeah, I think it is. It's the best way to learn anything, in my opinion, is on the job.
yeah.
So yeah, I would say
Well,
yeah.
that's the thing. It's like, even when you're training, you're never taught ab- about the audition process. You're never told about casting directors, producers, writers. You're not really told fully the extent of the industry, really,
No,
because and also how different theatre and TV are, and
oh,
also not just TV, but also to the extent where film is completely different to TV, and TV is like dramas is
yeah.
completely different to commercials as well.
And
They're all
radio drama is
and
a complete skill
radio
on its
drama.
own, because
Yeah, it's all completely different.
yeah, and like you've got people standing behind you, like a horse goes past, and this is still the way it is in on BBC. I've done like one radio job, and you've got like people behind you with coconuts going,
Yeah.
and that baffled me. Honest,
The
yeah,
feet.
that absolutely like tickled me. I done a show called The Archers, which is like a long running
Yeah,
BBC
yeah,
radio show. And it was still like that. You've got like a little gravel pit for people walking in gravel.
yeah,
You've got coconut shells for horses. I was like, is this for real? And they were like, yeah, we like to try and keep it old school. And I was like, that's
yeah,
cool. That's proper amazing. But yeah, no, it's all so different, isn't it? It's like there's no
completely.
um
And you're not taught that. You're not taught it at all.
no. I mean, to be fair, like we did touch on certain things, like we done like audition process once a week, so we had to like learn 2 speeches and a song every week,
Yeah,
and then perform it to an unforgiving panel of people. And at the
yeah,
time, you think that they were just being absolute knobheads, but it was
yeah.
part of the training, because they would sit there pole face like making notes, and at the time it was soul destroying. But in hindsight now, I can see how valuable that was, because you've got to
Yeah.
keep that performance level up and that energy to what in the industry a lot of the time can be very pole-faced
Oh,
people.
yeah. Totally cutthroat. It is. You've got to have thick skin. You've
Yeah,
got to have thick skin to be in this industry. You can't take it personally. And
no.
even now, I mean, how much we've done. Even now, we still get to that point where we go, you have that little self doubt, don't you? And
Mate, listen. for anyone watching or listening, me and Charlie like talk basically every single day on WhatsApp, on voice notes. And as Charlie just said, we're in a nice position where we've done a good deal of work now, really, relatively, speaking. But still, them demons might never go away. I had to send a tape the other day, and I just thought it was awful, and I was like, I'm the worst actor in the world. So I sent it to Charlie because I trust her opinion, and she was like, "No, what's wrong with you? You're mad." But them demons are just there. It's like you
Yeah.
have days like that. It's like it's a mental health thing. Like I know I suffer with my mental health, and being an actor and mental health wise can be incredibly tough. So I really get a lot from Charlie because she's very supportive like that, and I know she has her own little demons as well.
Yeah.
But we sort of we back each other
We
up.
relate. We totally
Yeah,
relate to each
yeah.
other. Yeah.
I think that's important, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people that are untrustworthy in the industry, who will stab you
Yeah.
in the back to get where
Yeah.
they want
Out
to
for
go.
themselves.
And you can't trust
But
everyone, sadly.
no. I mean, we've said, like, we've got a lot of friends and stuff in the industry, but you never fully open up. You've always got your guard up and everything, and that's where we've really got this strong bond, because it's like we fully 100% are honest with each other.
Yeah.
If I said a self-tape to you and was like, give us your honest opinion, you wouldn't be sly and go, oh yeah, it's good that, when in actual
No.
fact it was
I
crap.
think
You'd be honest,
I think I have been
and
honest.
vice versa.
Yeah, I think I have
Yeah,
been honest, haven't I?
absolutely.
Once or twice, and I've said, "Oh, I
Absolutely.
wouldn't hear or think about that," or because
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean, again, it's subjective. It's my opinion against yours, essentially. But sometimes like a bit of advice can come from like the most random of people who aren't into acting or anything, and it makes you go, "Bang! How did I miss that?
Yeah,
How did I miss that?"
definitely.
And it's
Absolutely.
it is from your nan or your auntie or your uncle. Do you know what I mean? They'll go,
Yeah,
hang on, you're
yeah.
saying that, but he says that later on, and you go, oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know
But
what I
what
mean?
about this bit? Yeah, why don't you say it like this? And you go, oh yeah. Or a bit of is like, I should have thought of
Yeah.
that.
Like
Yeah,
you're focusing all of like all your efforts on this one line that's like, yeah, it is. And you're trying to get the right like subtext behind that and the right
oh
thoughts and
yeah.
stuff. And then you miss something
Overthinking.
glaringly obvious. Do you know what I mean? It's mad.
Yeah, overthinking it.
Yeah.
Especially because like we're both into developing characters as well. We really love the idea of really bringing this character to life and thinking about the accent, the physicality, and so because we focus on that so much. Well, I personally, because I focus on that so much, sometimes I do kind of miss the subcontext, and I can't even speak today. But that
Yeah.
behind the what's going on behind the story, really.
Yeah. I mean, that's all very important, but I think like, probably we're both a little bit guilty of that. Is that stuff to worry about later down the line, isn't it? For I would say as a bit of advice.
That's what directors are for. That's what directors are for.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Just to rein it in, or just get that story flowing the right way.
So what do you think about this new phenomenon of self-taping as opposed to going in the room? What's your thoughts on it, Charlie?
Because I'm of my anxiety, I'm loving the self-tape, and I'm loving the Zoom and things like that. I love it. Because it's the traveling to wherever you're going, and the whole traveling to the place, making sure you're there on time, making sure you know what you're doing. But it all just builds up the whole my anxiety, because I need to get there on time if I'm running late. And then the amount of times I've really made sure I've got plenty of time to get there, but it's been a case of the train's been delayed or something's been delayed, and I've got there with 5 minutes to spare, and then I've been given the script to go through, and you're like, you'd not have that time to mentally prep yourself.
Yeah.
And so this is why I love the idea of Zoom, because you really get that time to focus on the job in hand, rather than leaving it to fate and to travel, the travel gods.
The travel
Like,
gods, the travel gods will always get you at the worst possible time.
oh,
I mean, you've just hit it on the head for me. Like, I'm team self-tape, by the way. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it's a massive sticking point. A lot of people, a lot of actors are saying, "Oh, they'll tweet, I can't wait to get back in the room." You've got casting directors saying, "Oh, I can't wait to, get
yeah,
back and have people in the room." And it's all well and good, but I think, yeah, I totally agree with the mental health side of things, Charlie. For me, it works so much better for all of the reasons that you said. Financially, nerves play a big part in auditions for me. I can get in my own head a lot of the time, so
hmm,
I don't have that pressure when I do a self tape. And weirdly, I think it's working for me because I'm booking more jobs through self tapes than what I ever
yeah.
did. So for me, there's a bit of a fear of when it goes back, will me luck run out? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I love, the thing is with me is the beginning of the process, the audition and everything. That's where I prefer the Zoom and
Yeah,
rather than being in the room, because the nerves do take place. But once you have got that job and it's a table read, or you are reading with the other characters and the casting directors are in the room and everything, that's when I like being in the room, because
yeah,
then you go, okay, I've got the job now, so I can relax and really concentrate on the next step
yeah.
in my job, in what I'm supposed to be doing. That's where I like being in the room. But the whole very early stages, that's when the demons come in, and that's when they start going, you crap, you're this, you're that, oh, you're late, you look unprofessional, blah blah blah,
Mm.
all those horrible things in the head.
But don't get me
And
wrong as
yeah,
well. Like, don't get me wrong. There are negatives about it. I think because as much as I beat myself up, I think I am very good at being being me in the room when I get in there and when I relax. And I think sometimes the positive for being in the room is that I know I've had one or two jobs which I've only got because I've got on with them so well. And I'm not
mhm,
even joking. I know
yeah,
that one or two jobs that I would not get. Do you know what I mean? On paper, but
yeah,
they've found something in me that they've liked and either offered me something else, or they've gone, actually, no, we can see past what we thought initially was the character. And now, which they mightn't have got through
yeah,
a Zoom or a self tape. So that is a massive
yeah.
positive, is that essentially they've got to want to work with you as well.
Oh
And
yeah,
there might be a
absolutely.
better actor than you, but you might go in and shine personality wise, and they go, "Oh, he's great," or "She's great," and
Yeah,
give you the job that way.
because yeah, they get an idea of what you're like as a person, definitely. Because that's
Yeah.
another, I like that about Zoom as well. You do get that little bit of freedom where you can have a bit of a chat as well. And I love that. I love that, like you said. Sometimes that's another thing for actors who are, thinking about getting, or people wanting to get in the industry, and also that self doubt. Sometimes the role that you audition for, you're not right for, but the casting director or the writer, they will go, oh, actually, they're good for this role.
Yeah.
Because that's happened to me a few times. Don't know if it's happened to you. They've gone, oh,
Loads,
maybe not that role, but this role will suit them.
loads,
And it's
mate,
like,
loads.
oh,
In
yeah,
fact, I probably get more work like that than the actual roles I
yeah.
go for. Honestly, I'm not joking. It's mad. It's mad. Like I got a job and I got an audition and I went in for it. And even though I was right for it on paper, it wasn't my day. It wasn't. But the producer got onto my agent and said, "We absolutely love John." So I sound like a big blow my own trumpet, but I think the reason
It's
why I'm
true.
telling you, the reason
It's
why I'm
true though.
telling the story is to give people hope, or make them
Yeah,
realize that it's not a rejection all the time. I got the no, went home deflated because I believed I was perfect for that role. And then the producer got onto my agents and said, "We love John. We're gonna write a role in for him." So I was like,
oh yeah,
wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was like a massive, massive like win, and just a proof that you should never give up and think that it's a
no,
rejection, because okay, that worked well for me that time, but it mightn't always work like that, but it can. It really can. If
yeah.
you can impress them, even if you don't get it, other things can happen.
Definitely, because they keep you on file as well.
Mhm.
And there's been a couple of times where I've been in the room, and the casting director said to me, I'm going to let you know now, this role, I can't see you playing it, but I'm going to send you for your agent this such and such script. Want you to read for that. And you go, happy days.
Yeah.
You know, they're always, casting directors are always championing you, because that's another misconception as well. They're not the ones that are against you. They're the ones who are wanting you to get the role.
Yeah.
They're the ones pushing you to do a good job.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the amount of times they've stopped halfway and gone, okay, we'll do another take and try it this way, to try and help you out. I don't know if you've had that. I've had that a few times where they've gone, actually, can you read it that way?
I've had some amazing casting directors that have taped me in the room and then said, you know, I know Amy Hubbard does it that way occasionally. She'll tape you in the room so you're essentially doing a self tape, which she will then pass on to the directors, but you've still got to do it in person, if that makes sense. So it's it's like a hybrid of the two. And like Amy was amazing because we done a few run throughs of it before she said, okay, I'll record this next one, which was cool because, you know, I felt like I had 3 chances then to, like, you know, to get it right. And said, so yeah, I've never actually thought about that, but that was essentially like my first experience with a self tape, but it was live.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've done a few fan, but like past few years, like including Amy, they give you a bit of time before they press record, and they're like, oh, do you feel, are you okay? Do you feel ready? Because in the past I've gone, yeah, I'm ready, and just done it. Whereas in actual fact, it's okay to go, can I just have a couple of seconds just to, you know, you're not being a diva. You're just wanting to do your job properly.
Yeah. But that's what I mean.
It's okay to go, actually, could I just have a couple of minutes? I just don't feel prepared just yet. Can I just get my thoughts together?
Yeah.
Because you're going in with all nervous energy, and you don't want to, you're coming across like, you don't want to come across as like you don't know what you're doing. You want to just gather your thoughts together and go, right, okay, get this done to the best you can.
I suppose that's what I meant, really, because you know, they always record auditions anyway, as you know. But I think I was so used to like having the casting director there with the producer or director or whoever else is in the room. And I think with Amy, it was the first time I'd just gone in and met the casting director alone. And then I thought, oh yeah, because she's now sending it off to the director because they're busy or whatever. But I think that you're right in the fact of like, they're not against you. They've got to be for you, because if they select, say, 20 actors for the role and they're all crap, then it's their reputation that goes down the pan.
Definitely.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's like, so they want you to be boss. They're not against you. They're like, please be good.
Because they've got you there for a reason. They've got you there for a reason, haven't they?
Yeah,
definitely.
But, I mean, just touching back on the whole mental health thing, it's hard enough suffering with your mental health, isn't it? But as an actor, it's, as you said about rejection, there are so many rejections. And let's be honest, Charlie, we only tweet and talk about when we get jobs. We don't talk about the 50 rejections before, do we?
I know, exactly. The amount of rejections that you go through, quadruple the amount of jobs that you get. You're not going to get every single job you go for. And the amount of times you go, I am perfect for that role. And you do a self-tape and you go, that's amazing. I'm proper proud of that. Then you don't hear from it and you go, oh, well, that's when the demons come in. But it happens all the time. Nobody, social media, it's the devil, social media.
It
the
is,
amount, you know,
can be.
No, exactly, it can be, but also it can be positive, of course.
Can be, yeah.
But the thing is, it's nobody is sharing them sat on the couch crying into a bloody Ben and Jerry's, you know what I mean? I didn't get that job. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We've all been there. We've all been there. And you'd be a fool not to admit that. Nobody is getting jobs all the time. No one is. Of course not.
I'll tell you another thing as well. I remember speaking to someone one time and they were saying about like mental health, you've got to be careful and stuff like that. But do you know what? My opinion is you should always be honest about stuff like that, because I tell you what, probably people will identify with it more than you might think. And I am completely honest about my mental health issues in auditions, when I'm on set, anything, because do you know what? Sometimes you can just be given a little bit of extra support it's not a bad
Yeah.
thing. It's not a, it's not like you're not a leper for having, poor mental health.
Yeah, exactly. And the the amount of time, honestly, I've had this conversation before, and I've been told, no, you can't say you've got mental health because you won't get work for that. You won't get cast. Of course, well, I'm doing just fine. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing
Yeah.
just fine. And a lot of casting directors now are very open about mental health and the understanding. For example, that like the pressures of you've got X amount of time to get a self-tape in. Sometimes that can be detrimental towards someone with mental health because they've only got a few hours to get a self-tape. And casting directors will work around that and find a way so that your mental health, they find a way around it to help you with your mental health.
Yeah.
You've got to be honest about it.
Don't get me wrong, it does feel like a gamble sometimes to say,
Yeah.
listen, I might need a little bit of extra time with this because I'm not being great at the moment. But you know what? I've actually said that to a casting director. I went in for a film, it was like, who was it? It doesn't matter who it was, but I went in. It was the audition was in Liverpool, and I was full of anxiety. I'll tell you who the casting director was actually, because I really, really appreciate it. It was Janet
Yeah.
Hampson, and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
not a casting director anymore. She's an agent. So I know she won't be watching this, but I'll never forget this. So thanks, Janet. And I was racked with anxiety this day, and it was only a couple of sides, pages for those who aren't familiar with the terms, a couple of pages of script, and I knew it off by heart. But you know what? As soon as I got out that car, and it was in Liverpool Film Studios down in the North End, and
Yeah.
I remember just being like, I'm not going to remember this. I'm not going to remember this. And I went in there, and I had a full on panic attack. And I just stopped the audition. I just said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And she was like, you're okay. Because I'd met her once before for a small role on something. And I said, I can't do this. And she was like, what's up? And I went, I'm sorry, listen, I'm going to have to go. I really don't feel too good. And she was like, oh, right, okay. So I said, thank you very much. And I left. And then I broke down crying because obviously it's very emotional to have to do that. But I just went to pieces, and I had to speak to Janet about it. I thought I can't leave it at that. So I emailed her and I explained about my mental health problems. I said, and I've just been having a particularly rough time recently. I said, and financially as well. I said, I really needed that job. So this isn't to put any pressure on you, but and you know what? She said, listen, I'll leave it open. You can come back in and do it again, or she went, but I will never hold it against you. She went, I understand, I've been there myself. And she went, I will pass that on to the production team. And I just thought, like, that's amazing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I might have even been able to have said it there and then. And then she might have said, okay, let's
Yeah.
take 5 minutes and let's do it again. But unfortunately, at that time, I had to get out the room due to a panic attack. So I think that just shows that. Oh, and by the way, since that audition, Janet cast me in something else. So, I got
Like
a job.
that.
I got a job through her, something else. So what I'm saying is, it didn't go against me. It
Yeah,
didn't.
of course not. Of course, absolutely. It's like any health condition. It's like any health condition, and they are more open to that. If you do have any health issues of any kind, mentally, physically, please do let us know. And it's great. It is amazing that we are having conversations about this more often, and also the fact of I don't know if you've been told this that I've been told that you can't talk to casting directors or producers or writers a certain way. People feel like they need to put on a posh voice when they talk.
Oh,
No.
mate.
Well, if you're talking on the phone to them, the amount of times I've had people around me go, you can't talk like that. Why are you talking to a producer like that? It's like, why not? Why can I not be myself? Why can't I be myself? If you're yourself, then you're going to be comfortable. You're not going to doubt yourself. Well, we always doubt ourselves, you know what I mean? But you're not putting on a facade.
I think it's that important. I think being yourself is possibly the best advice anyone's ever given me, is to be myself.
Yeah, because it is a cliche, isn't it? You just be yourself. But be yourself, honestly, because that was a lot of my struggle with mental health is like, just not knowing myself. It sounds so like not knowing myself. But once you do know yourself and you're comfortable in your skin, then you can relax a bit once you meet them.
Yeah, and it's not
People in the
easy.
industry.
It's not an
No,
easy thing to do. You know, sometimes, as you say, we don't always know who we are anyway. You know, we can be different
no,
people in different situations all the time.
yeah,
That's life, isn't it? And we
yeah.
had this conversation the other day, weirdly, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Very deep for
Yeah.
about 2 hours, me and Charlie. But yeah, it's a mad one because I think I don't completely forgot my train of thought. Then what were we saying?
About being yourself.
Oh, sorry, yeah, about being yourself. Because I'd say I graduated from drama school in 2009, and I would say the first 4 years worth of TV auditions, especially not so much theatre work, but TV
Yeah,
auditions. I was going in and just like being what I thought they wanted me to be.
yeah,
I've always been up against it really since being at drama school because as as much I think things are changing now, but the voice coach always used to say to me every day, "Fantastic, John, fantastic, but when are you going to lose that accent?" And I'd be like, "I'm not, I'm not at all, I'm not." And the funny thing is like when I went for the audition for the drama school I went to, which was I won't name it because I don't want them to think that I'm being like bad against it. I'm not. It was an amazing place to go, but unfortunately, some of their approaches were like very, very, very archaic. Do you know what I mean? Very, very
yeah.
dated, and I'm sure they'd admit that now. But even in the audition, she said, "If we were to offer you a place at blah blah blah, would you be willing to change your accent?" And I was like, "No." I said in the audition, I went, "No, I wouldn't, to be honest." And she was like, "Oh, really? Why is that?" And I went, "Because that's my job as an actor, is to
Yeah,
be different people." I said, "I would never sell out who I am and who, you know." And
exactly.
she went, "But your voice doesn't define you." And I went, "Exactly."
Exactly.
I thought you've
Exactly.
just shot yourself in your foot there, love. Do you know what I mean? It
Oh,
was mad.
I'll never forget, like, because being myself and stuff, and one, I think it was a tutor or someone, and she was, the usual, and the stereotype is real, the long scarf and they're all in blacks. She was like, darling, the way you are, you're not going to get any roles unless you sleep with the director. I was like, wow, cheers, thanks for that, love. Yeah, yeah. And it
Oh,
was
that's
like,
awful.
darling, how do you think I've got where I am? And I'm like, what? Teaching us? What? What are you on about? What are you on about, love?
Oh my God.
Because of the accent, and because it was a bit, because I am tomboyish, and it's like, no, darling, you've got to, as a woman, you've got to have long hair, you've got to look a certain way to get the roles, and it's like, no,
But yeah,
no.
it's weird that because I mean, I often nowadays, not back a few years back when I was, progressing, I would say, like, but mentally now I am so pleased that I do look different to other people. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like I used to want to look like part of the cliche sort of pack of what you think an actor should look like. And
yeah,
I had like looks envy. I used to be like, oh, I wish I looked like them. In my group at drama school, they were all like very pretty. Do you know what I mean? Very, very pretty. And I was like the character actor who like, played the
I,
granddad. You know what I mean? Played the granddad.
yeah,
It's a bit like going back to when I was a kid. I always played the old men in like the
yeah,
in-house productions and stuff. And now I'm
yeah,
like, do you know what? Thank God I've got a characterful face. Thank God I've got something a little bit different. Obviously, it can lead to, typecastings and stuff like that.
yeah.
But that's another question that I'd like to touch on with you, if you don't mind. Like, how do you feel that you're sort of, do you ever feel that you're put up for certain roles, or, is there a repetition there with the type of opportunities that you get? You said about feeling
Well,
like you're tomboyish.
oh yeah, well, I am um, naturally tomboyish anyway, and that's just the way I am. But yeah, in me 20s, early 20s, I had long hair, and like you were saying, trying to look like an actor that would get the work, having the long hair, having makeup on, full makeup, and not really showing your flaws or anything, trying to look camera ready. Ooh, hashtag camera ready. You know what I mean?
Oh, I've gone out
Try,
of focus.
oh no, quick, go like that.
Sorry, go on.
Trying to look a certain way, and So with looking that way, you would get, because I was younger as well, I was in my 20s, you go for more lead roles, more, not to say pretty roles, but you're more inclined to get leading roles, younger, looking a certain way. And as you know, I'm in my mid-30s now. And since I've cut my hair as well, because I've got short hair, and I've let my grey come through, and I hardly wear any makeup, but since I've stripped it right back, become more myself, I've, not fit into a certain category. Since then, I've been getting, the role of copper, the role of nurse, things like that. But the casting, the roles for me since getting older, as really, you're not getting as many lead roles, if that makes sense. There's a movement, well, I say movements, there's a thing at the moment, hashtag don't cast her out. And Nikki Clark, I think her name is, who's running this, and she's talking about women over a certain age, over 40, not getting the kick-ass roles, because that's what I'm wanting to get. I'm wanting to get those kick-ass roles, like we were talking about, being the gangster and stuff like that. I'm getting the copper, I'm getting the nurse and those type of roles, but there's also the mum roles.
Yeah.
You get given more, you're more inclined to get a mum role if you look a certain way. Mumsy, hate that mumsy, because I am a mum, and the word mumsy has got such a negativity around it, which it shouldn't do. But as an older woman, the roles you're getting put forward for, as a nobody, because that's in the industry, that's what you are, a nobody. But you're not getting those kick-ass roles. You're not getting those those leading lady roles.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the grandma or the mother. Or
you're not getting grandma roles. I'm not having that.
I am not far off. But the supporting role to the male, to nothing against
right.
men, but it's always the supporting role towards the man. The man is the hero, and the women are at the background support. Those are the type of roles that, I'm not slating the industry, and I'm very thankful and very lucky for the roles that I do get. The fact that I get cast at all, I'm thankful for. But that's the thing with the industry. I'm not slagging the industry off. It's just a fact.
No, happening. I mean, things do need to change, don't they? Let's be honest. I mean, that's. I think things are changing slightly, and one thing I do think about social media is that it's given people more of a voice, isn't it, these days? Because, like you said, like this what was the movement you said about? What was the name of it?
Don't cast her out.
Don't cast her out. There's also the hashtag yes or no, which is actors now demanding a yes or a no after a job, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah,
which is like, we'll touch on that in a minute. But one thing I don't like is like, you're exactly right about that. Like, women don't get the opportunities, and they're always seen as like, playing second fiddle to the men. But then when they do bring out, like an all-female cast, it's a thing, isn't it? It's like it almost feels then like a bit of a token gesture, as opposed to it's just the way it is, and that must be hard as an actor.
Yeah, definitely. As a female actor, I mean, Kill Bill, Uma Thurman was like an older woman, and that film alone was amazing. But she was a known actor. She was known, whereas unknown actresses and actors don't tend to be given the chance as a female, as people who identify as female don't get the chance to get a role like that. I mean, at the moment, like you were saying, there's it's a thing. There's a film out called is it Gunpowder Milkshake, with Angela Bassett, who's incredible.
I love her,
and she's incredible. And she's she's in her 60s, I think. And it's an older cast of women, and it's a kick-ass film. It's brilliant, but it's not in the big cinemas. You don't get seen in the big cinemas, and
it's really bad,
there's no money behind it. There's no money behind it whatsoever. And like the whole thing with James Bond and stuff, but what Daniel Craig said, which was totally taken out of context. He said, you know, it shouldn't be a female, the next James Bond, which I do agree with to a certain extent, because there should be a female role like 007, but written specifically for a woman.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm not. It's easy for me to say as a man, right? And it's probably quite controversial to say this, but I definitely don't think it should be a female playing 007 because the character is a man. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was written in the 60s or the 50s or whenever it was written. So, you know, you're not going to change that. But like you said, it's time that now we started like looking at, you know, characters that are, you know, written specifically for women. And I just don't think wouldn't sit well with me. Not for, I don't think a woman couldn't do it. It's just not the character. It's not, is it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No matter.
No, I totally
like,
agree.
it's written as a man, but you know, again, I'll probably get hate for saying that, but that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, it's my opinion as well.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a tough one. And like we were saying the other day, where we were chatting off the podcast in normal life, and I said to Charlie, and again, maybe a little bit of ignorance, but I'm just never know how to say things like this, because I'm always quite aware now of offending people without meaning to. But I said, what would you like me to write? Is it like, what is the beneficial, the preferential way? Would you like to be called Charlie.Griffiths actor or Charlie.Griffiths actress? And we had this big talk about it for ages, didn't we? Which is again, though, I think it's important.
Yeah, but I personally, I'm not, you know, I'm not precious over it. I don't mind being called actress or actor. But the fact that you asked that, the fact that you asked what I prefer, but it's down to personal preference, to be honest.
I think I'd be dead interested. Sorry to interrupt you, Charlie. I'd be dead interested if any, you know, actresses or female actors or whatever are watching this to comment and let us know, because I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I remember it being a thing a couple of years back, where people were saying, some people were saying, well, no, I'm an actor and I just happen to be a female. And some people were saying, no, we're actresses, we have, you know, we are a separate thing, you know, but I just don't know anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's because some people are there's non-binary, some people are non-binary, and so the word actor kind of is for male or female, I feel, for anybody, not even male or female identifying for non-binary. I think that there's some non-binary actors I know who do say actor, but again, they might choose actress. There may be other non-binary actors out there, actresses, who decide to choose actress.
Yeah,
it is tough. It's exactly down to personal preference, like anything, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think as long as you're giving people an option, you know, it's like it's like the pronouns, like, you know, what we all tend to do now. It's like, you know, so he, him, he, she, you know, all of that stuff. That again, it's I suppose essentially what you're doing is you're saying to someone, okay, this is how I identify, so they don't feel awkward as well, or say the wrong thing.
But also you're supporting the trans community as well by doing that.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's like, it's making it more of it's normalizing things, isn't it? Essentially. I don't mean normalization as in, you know, it's not normal, but making it more mainstream is what I'm trying to say.
Part of our dialogue, part of human dialogue.
It's opening up a conversation as well, isn't it, about it? You know, 'cause some people are blissfully unaware of these things. Like, you know, the older generation are like, don't get it in any way, shape or form. So, you know, you never know how it can open up someone else's eyes or educate people. But there was something else I was going to say to you then, which we're talking about. Oh yeah, about the actor thing. Because the way I looked at it in my mind, but then I could be completely wrong, is that the word actor is your profession, regardless of gender.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does. That totally makes sense. That's why I've always kind of said actor. I never really thought, oh no, I'm an actress. I'm just an actor. I'm an actor. Yeah.
Well, again, it's one of them things. Let us know down below what you think. What are your so just going like just like taking it on to something else now, but Being an actor it's great, but as we've touched on, you know, you never work, even like some of the high names. You never ever consistently working. There are very few actors that are consistently working. I don't know why I'm saying it like consistently, but like I personally work a day job. You know, I'm lucky enough to get odd roles on TV now. And you're a stage actor more at the moment, aren't you? Would you say?
Well, I was, but now more TV,
Yeah,
commercial on TV, where more. But of late, but in the past, it was a lot of theatre work.
yeah.
But now, you know, since changing agents, more TV.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
well, more. I know you're getting a lot more opportunities, aren't you, with the
Oh, yeah,
self taping
definitely.
and stuff now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing about, like, you know, having a day job, as I say, I have to support what sometimes feels like me hobby is me being an actor. It sometimes can feel like a hobby, but I do support work, you know. So I like do supporting people in the communities, different jobs. I also do like a bit of work with a local theatre company via Zoom. So do you have to like do a day job or anything as an actor?
Well, before, during the very first lockdown that we had, I because of my mental health, I started doing it, and I'm going to say it. My fitness journey. I said it.
Wow.
Cringe. My fitness journey. Yeah. So, darling, my fitness journey. Yeah. So I started this. I can't say it again. But anyway, in that first lockdown, and I thought, you know what? No, in 2018, that's when, you know, because before then my mental health was really, really bad, and so in 2018 I started working towards getting well. Anyway, part of that was fitness, and so in the first lockdown, I was really, I thought, okay, the acting work is on hold at the moment. I need to do something not only for physical health but my mental health to keep me going. And so therefore I decided to retrain. That was a different story, but decided to look into learning how to become a fitness instructor. And so I set up my own business, like a Boss Fitness. Little plug there for you, like a Boss Fitness. Shameless plug. Like a Boss Fitness. Yeah, cue. But I decided to set that up in online fitness classes and stuff. And so that is what I do in between jobs.
Yeah.
Because, you know, luckily, Mark, my fiance, he's got a full-time stable job, thankfully. And my money that I earn is always in savings. So thankfully enough, that financial side, I've always got a little bit of money there for me.
Yeah.
And then like a Boss Fitness was set up so that I've got something to do in between.
Yeah.
Well, because I used to do gigging as well, because I used to sing as well. I used to do the gigging, but I couldn't do that.
That was weird,
I couldn't do that.
I was just about to say that, because that popped into my head. I've seen so many videos of you singing, you know, and doing like gigs and things like that. And by the way, she will go mad for me saying this because she doesn't take compliments very well. But Charlie has got the most amazing voice I have ever heard. I'll put a clip in here now.
No, don't.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking, I won't. But honestly, she has got the most phenomenal voice. And that's another great way of you earning money, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm gonna plug my mate's business, but my mate Becky Brooks, she has 3D Interactive and DBY Interactive. DBY, interactive. Sorry, well, 3D Interactive and DBY. She does a lot of gigs, and she's really great. She's been great giving me some work as well, and we do a lot of singing gigs, performing gigs as well. So that as well on top of it, because I'm doing something I love. And the thing was with gigging, because I always went out as a name. Because I like the idea of having an alter ego. I don't like gigging as exactly.
AIRTIME JOHN.
Exactly. An alter ego, because as an actor, you're playing a character. And
Yeah.
so anytime you're performing, I've always wanted to have a name. And so when I was gigging, I was going out as a character, but then me gigging life and my personal life was starting to overlap, and people
Yeah.
were starting to know a bit too much about my personal life, and I didn't like that whatsoever. You know, nothing against them. You know, they were amazing, the support that I had and stuff, and it's fantastic. But the whole people knowing too much about your personal life, I just didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it, and so that's why I stopped gigging on my own.
Yeah.
And now, if I do decide to do a gig with Becky, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But
It's funny.
again, I'm just there as an actor.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? Because I was very, very similar with my YouTube and thing. Like in the early days of starting up the channel in 2018, it was very much, I wouldn't say a secret thing. I've touched on it before, but I was a little bit like, okay, so me acting is one thing and me YouTubing is a different thing, and they've got to be very, very separate, because I
Yes.
don't want, to sell myself down the wrong path to potential employers, casting directors, or, because I'm a little bit daft, I don't want them not taking me seriously as an actor. And, it's only been, Charlie, it's only been recently where I've decided that I've gone, actually, this is just all under the umbrella of John McGrellis, a performer, a presenter, a YouTuber, a creative, whatever you want to label it. This is just my umbrella with different things dangling down off it. And you know what? It's the best thing I've ever done. It's the best thing I've ever done, because now I don't have to worry about anything. I don't care like what the acting industry thinks of the YouTube and stuff. I don't care what the YouTubing industry think of the acting. It's just me. And it's honestly, it's the most positive step I've done in owning the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Because it is a persona, isn't it? You've always got to have that persona, but that is part of our job.
Yeah.
Part of our job. Like, even not only are you putting on a persona in the rehearsal, in the audition room, you're putting on a persona in the rehearsal room, putting on a persona such and such for things like this. And, well, not as much for things like this. We're being ourselves in this one.
Is, I'll be honest, this is like really just me and Charlie, the way we are anyway, isn't it? There's no, one thing that I will say is, like, I think when you're doing a YouTube video, is that you have naturally got to elevate your sort of presentational skills, because one thing I will say is, like, you've got to be yourself, but at the same time, if I started every video like, "Oh yeah, welcome to AIRTIME John, I'm AIRTIME John, and this is AIRTIME John," and that's why I just said that. Today we're going to Alton Towers, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Do you know what I mean? It might be realistic to how I'm feeling that day, but people won't watch that. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. People won't watch that. It's like any presenter. You can still bring elements of yourself in with a slightly more elevated way of presenting it. It's because doing this as well, I don't know, I was going to say, I don't know about you, but you don't do it. But it's actually opened up other avenues to me that I've never considered. Like, I thought, I'd love to do interviews. I'd love to do presenting. And that's why I started this, because I thought, I'll see what I'm like at it. And I'm not great, I'm not the best, but I really enjoy it. So again, it's like...
You're dead natural. You're natural at it. You're a natural conversationalist. You're good at it.
Don't go down that path again. Don't go down that path. When we were talking about Charlie doing this, I honestly thought Charlie would say no, not because she's like, up her own bum or anything, just because I thought she can be quite a little bit, private. So I thought it mightn't be something... Yeah, and a little bit nervous, so I thought it mightn't be something that she'd be up for. But anyway, she was like, "No, I feel really relaxed with you, so I reckon it'd be good, and I'd love to do it." So I was buzzing. But like we had this conversation the other day, didn't we? About like, I said, well, what you've got to remember, Charlie, is it's a conversation. It's not an interview. I do have certain things. I'll send you a few bullet points, but it's a conversation. And then she replied, and I was like, yeah. So, it's just a conversation. And I must have said it about 3 times. And in the end, it was like...
You went into detail what a conversation is. I was like, I know what a conversation is.
I was literally...
So it's just, I'll say this, and then you say that, and we'll just go back and forth. I was like, Yeah.
I think I only like went down it so much is because I was like, I don't want you feeling like it's an interview. I'm not going to grill you. I'm not going to be like, right, so what have you done? What sorts of things have
I
you done?
know.
Like, what was
I
the
know.
last job you done? You know what I mean? Which some interviews are like,
Yeah.
and in general life as well, you'll proper
Yeah.
identify with this, as will any actors watching. Oh, so you're an actor, yeah? What have I seen you in?
Well,
What have you done?
but I hate that. I hate it because it's. You hate talk. You sound like you're bragging.
Mm.
I hate that. I hate it. But it's not just people who that aren't in the industry. It's also people who are in the industry. So what have you been in then? And you
Oh,
go, what do you want me
you
to get
think
my spotlight out? Which is an actor's CV for those who don't know. You know,
you
who
think the
does that?
actors would be more sensitive to it, wouldn't you? Because like
Yeah,
I think it's essentially it's small talk, isn't it? It's when you
yeah,
meet another actor and it's like, so what have you been up to? What have you been working on anything?
yeah,
It's essentially small talk. But you know, sometimes when you haven't had a job for 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever it
yeah,
be, it's like it's the most awkward thing to say. And
yeah,
again, talking about being yourself, I just say now, I just go, oh, it's been dead, mate. It's been I
yeah,
haven't had a sniff.
yeah, yeah. Oh, do you know what the thing I always say? Bits and bobs.
Bits and
What have you been
bobs,
up to?
yeah.
Bits and bobs.
Bits
We
and
all do
bobs.
it. But the thing that makes me laugh, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm not slagging people off, by the way. But I
No,
don't know
no,
if you've
no.
noticed, not at all. The thing that I've noticed as well is when people like, oh, are you lucky? Oh, it's going down. It's going down, mate. It's going down.
Lucky, 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 we're live on Airtime John, mate.
I'll just wait. I'll just wait.
Lucky,
Lucky, mate.
lucky.
Oh, lucky.
I think the postman's just been, so he's not
Yeah.
a fan. Anyway, he's all
No,
right now. Go on.
it's all right. But when other actors are like talking and name dropping, when I worked with so and so, when I did this or when I did that, and you're sitting there and you're going, no one is interested, made up for them, not in a jealous way or anything like that, but nobody's interested.
Yeah,
It's the name dropping, I've always found, I don't know if you're the same, those people who do that are the ones who are the most insecure because they're
yeah.
trying to overcompensate.
One sec.
Is that Mark Rylance?
I can't talk. No, I'm doing a podcast. All right, trap. Jodie Comer.
Who was that, John? Who was that? It was
Jodie Comer, yeah.
How's she doing? I just saw her the other week.
I'm joking. Go on, sorry. I couldn't resist that.
I can't pick up my phone and use it. Sorry, is that Mark Rylance? Is that just saying?
You're more impressed with that than I am.
I'm not. He's amazing. That's why. That's what I always do.
Go on.
This is what I always do with John. When John's feeling like getting those horrible demons in his head, I'm like, "Excuse me, did you work on Mark Rylance?" Just a little reminder.
I'll write that there. Just if you want to Google him. No, honestly,
Yeah.
right. I totally agree with you. What you're saying, it's like it is an insecurity, isn't it? It really is because it validates you. I think as an actor, it makes it. If you have like got a few people that you've worked with, I think people want to drop it in. I think one of the things that I'm probably most proud of is that a lot of people don't know I'm an actor, which probably speaks volumes for the fact that I don't shout it from the rooftops. You know what I mean?
I don't think I think it doesn't bring anything positive when people do talk about what they've done, what they've been and stuff. Because I think there's a lot of the time people may feel insecure within that conversation and go, oh, does that mean I'm not a proper actor because I haven't worked with such and such or I haven't done this? If you work, you're all working in the same job, you're all doing the same thing. Why do you feel the need to brag about it? Everybody's worked with somebody who's a name in the industry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like
a lot
of the most talented people I've worked with are people that aren't names. Like you, you're one of one of my favourite actors that I've ever worked with. I mean that genuinely. I'm not blowing smoke up your bum. Like you are one of the most naturally gifted actors I've worked with, and like the funniest comic actors I've ever worked with, or actor, sorry.
Can't take
So,
compliments.
but unfortunately, we're not all discovered, are we? You know, it's
Yeah, but I
like,
like that though. This is the thing, because I like my privacy. So I've always liked playing characters that either you don't recognize, because this is on stage mainly. On stage mainly, if I like coming off stage and people not recognizing me, that I've just been in that show. I
yeah,
love that, because I'm
yeah.
like, not only have I done my job properly, but I also, well, I sound dead big headed, but you know, after the show, people go, "Oh, you were fantastic." It makes me feel,
Yeah.
I hate
I
it,
struggle
because
with
I
that,
feel like,
Charlie.
yeah, I always leave. It's not me being rude or anything, but after a show, after a stage show, I love to just get off, go home, and be with Mark and Neve, and
You
just,
see,
because I
I'm
can't.
I'm a
Don't like
mixed
it.
bag. I'm a mixed bag, mate. I'm gonna be completely honest, right? I struggle with that. I struggle with like press nights. I struggle with,
Oh,
after show parties. Like I've just been invited to one for a job I done. It's a film job, and I'm not going because I, I just it's not my thing. It's not, unless like I'm a part in it where I'm helping to promote it. Then yeah, I'll
yeah.
do it. But it's just not my thing. It's really not, because it's too awkward, and I'm like, cringy. But yeah, but
I
I
know.
I, I think it's weird because the complexity of actors at the same time. When I come off stage, I haven't done stage for about 4 years now, and when I come off, I hate the sort of the attention, but I like it at the same time. I'm not gonna lie. There's a side of me that gets off on it when people go, "Oh, you were brilliant," or "You were this or that." So it's a very fine
Like
line.
validation. It's validating you, what you're doing.
It is.
Because I get it. This is what I get a lot, and from family and everything. Like, but you can do that on stage, or you can do that on screen, but you can't do this in real life.
Yeah,
Like, for example, like doing a speech at my mate's wedding, or something like that, where I've got to be Charlie in
yeah.
front of everybody, all eyes on you as Charlie. I absolutely go to pieces.
Same. Yeah.
When, like, if I'm telling a story in a room with all people looking at me, I feel like I've got to go, pardon me, boy. Do you know what I mean? Put on a show, because I can't be like this, like
Yeah.
just myself, because I feel like, oh, I'm on show. That actor's got to kick into action. And
Yeah.
people don't understand that actually, I'm actually quite a shy person in
Yeah.
real life now as an adult, because as a kid, I was not shy in the slightest. But as an adult, I'm quite shy.
Yeah.
And I know I'm comfortable with who I am. And I know that I am an introvert. I am massively an introvert. I
Yeah.
love nothing more than just being in the house with my family, and not outside or surrounded by people and all the glitz and glam. That's not what I'm attracted
No.
to. I love the home comforts, and just, the thing that I love about acting is the acting.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not all the other bits and bobs, not all the press and the interviews and things like that. I find it
No.
uncomfortable, but it's part of the job,
Yeah.
and you are putting a persona on again when it's interviews and stuff like that.
I think it's very interesting. Like it's a sort of subject that we could talk about for hours, because
Oh,
we won't. Don't worry. But I'm very similar in the fact that like I am a fundamentally shy person, but it depends. I'm going to sound like I've got complete personality disorder now, but you might identify, or someone might. For me, if it's very much what John wakes up in the morning, which version of John. Like I can literally be a social recluse, or I can be the life and soul of the party. And I don't know
yeah,
who the real John is. I really don't, because I've had that
yeah,
many versions of myself over the years. I think probably the version I am now is probably the real me, because I'm able to say, "Oh, I'm not feeling great today," or I'm able
yeah.
to say, "Oh, I'm buzzing today," and I can be myself. I just don't know. I don't know. So, it's such a massive subject, and I think again that's where mental health comes into it. And some days like you want to be that recluse and you don't want to go out, or you love your home comforts, like you said. And in other days, you want to be out there and do stuff. It's a big subject, isn't it? It really is.
I think it depends on the people as well that you surround yourself with. We
Yeah.
always, as I mean, everyone puts on a persona. There's a different mask for different situations, different social events and things like that. Everyone does it. That's just human nature. Nobody is 100% fully themselves.
You can't.
I mean,
you
can
can't
say that we are to a certain degree with this because we are comfortable with each other and we can be ourselves. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, we do.
It's like I said to you.
Persona.
Yeah, it's like I said to you yesterday or a couple of days ago. I said you can't be yourself. People say be yourself, but there are elements of yourself. You can't be yourself in a job interview fully because I like to sit like this. Imagine me sitting like that in a job interview.
I know, yeah.
You'd be like, who's this lad for real? What's going on there? But then, so, it's like the presentational thing. It's just elevated versions, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Because like we were saying the other day, we keep saying, like we said the other day, but like the other day, when people introduce me, I don't know if you find that, but they go, "Oh, Charlie, God, she's loud there, she's this," and when you go, "Oh, she's not shy, Charlie, she's not shy, she's dead loud," and I'm like, "Wow, that's just not me at all."
I think that's
not. That's the persona that they see. That's
exactly.
the person that they see.
Exactly. And I think that being an actor or any performer, it does attract a certain type of person anyway. I think you've got to have complex, ways about you to sort of be able to click into different characters and stuff. And I think we are a different breed in many ways that, maybe we don't know who we are. And that's part of the attraction of pretending to be.
You were going to say journey? That's part of the journey.
No, it's part of the attraction. It's part of the attraction of pretending to be other people. Do you know what I mean? Because that's essentially what we're doing is maybe we're just hiding away from who we really are, which is incredibly deep. But I think it's valid.
It's valid. But it is. But that's why I love people watching because I think that's another thing that I love to create a character. The more real, the better. The more real, the more relatable it is if it's real. But people watching, I love that.
There are so many great characters to observe, and that's one thing that I love to do as an actor is when I'm planning a character, I love to go out spotting, people spotting because I'll look for different sorts of tics or different mannerisms and stuff like that. But do you know what I reckon that we could have done this as a two-parter because I could talk with you all day. But I will. I've also got my day job coming up soon. So what I'm going to ask you is, what's next for Charlie.griffiths? after saying before, you don't ask. But I know that you've got a job coming up, so it's safe.
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm sound. Yeah, it's just bits and bobs.
Well played, mate.
Thank you.
Well played.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well played. The whole thing's been set up for that one gag.
Yeah. But it is. It's just, bits of bobs and a few self-tapes have been sent and, just waiting to hear back from them. And they say same old same, as they say. But yeah, just that. It's mainly TV work.
I thought you were going to plug your show you're doing.
Which one?
Aren't you doing Panto this year?
Oh yeah, Panto, yeah. Okay. Which one?
Wow. See, that's how in demand she is at the moment. That is how...
It's because it's good. That sounded so arrogant, didn't it? Which one? The Panto. I haven't got the dates or anything in front of me, but it's at the Brindley Theatre. Cinderella.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm doing that this Christmas.
I won't be coming now because you haven't flogged it very well.
Well, I'm playing the the Wicked Stepmother. I'm playing the stepmother because it originally was going to be the fairy godmother, but I'm playing the stepmother, which I prefer anyway. Prefer playing the baddies.
The baddies are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, Panto gets through Christmas. I don't tend to shout about it. I know I should, but yeah, it's the Brindley Theatre, Cinderella. Because Panto,
I think it's not
through Christmas because there's not much work through Christmas and New Year, is there?
No.
So to have a job,
Sorry, mate. I've just really spoke over you there. There are always like quiet
What are you saying?
periods.
Wrestling.
There are always quiet periods, aren't there, in the
Yeah,
industry? And yeah, I mean, like you've done pantos for years, haven't you? Like you're off and on and stuff. And I just think that they're amazing fun. But no one hires me. No one. I never get any opportunities. I've done one Christmas show. Oh no, two. 1 year ago, which was a show I wrote myself for Oxford
yeah,
Playhouse. So that doesn't even count because it was my show. And and I've done the Royal Court Christmas show in
yeah,
2014, which is a local theatre in Liverpool, but it's got a great like audience of people who always go. And since
yeah.
then, no one's touched me. No one. They
Well,
won't.
do you know, I'm
I must
dead,
have missed that.
I'm dead lucky. I am dead lucky in the position I'm in because, the position I'm in now, I've got a really good relationship with the theatre, and the theatre's council ran, and so they're the ones that really champion me being in the pantos
Yeah,
because it's a different company, out of house company that comes in to do the pantos, and they get X amount contract with the theatre. And I'm really fortunate, and I'm so thankful that I'm there every year,
yeah,
and hopefully that'll continue. You never know from year to year. You never know, because I might be in a complete different situation, and they might decide to go a different way. You never know.
yeah,
So every year I'm really grateful and thankful because, as an actor, financially, that is brilliant because,
yeah.
it can pay for a holiday or pay for through Christmas. And
Well, like you said,
it's
it
a lot. It's
suits
good money.
Christmas, doesn't it, as
Good
well?
money.
And I think that there's a lot of snobbery. Well, there can be a lot of snobbery about panto, can't there? But I think that
Yeah.
it's disgusting because I think my small experience with doing pantos and like unprofessionally even is like it's all very timed meticulously, isn't it? And I know
Yeah.
sometimes you mightn't have the creativity to make things your own, but it's a very ensemble feel, I think, a panto, isn't it? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, I've always felt, I mean, I'll probably get throttled for this, but I've always felt that panto is the one time you can get away with murder on stage. You've got so much freedom with panto.
yeah,
All the rules of being an actor is just out the window. You're just having fun. You
yeah.
just, and it's great seeing the little kids' faces, and
Well,
the
there's no
adults are
fourth
loving
wall,
it
is
as
there, in
well.
panto?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's, you get away with murder. It's so much fun, and it's nice to end off your year with that freedom of being on stage and just being a bit daft,
yeah,
especially when the majority of the work, because the way I look, the majority of the work that I've been getting is very dramatic, really serious, and you know
moody.
quite moody. Yeah,
Because
quite
you're a
moody. And
moody looking. I'm very sure then.
yeah, cheers. Thanks for that. Thanks.
No, you've got a great edgy look to you, but when you smile, it just all lights up. But I
Oh,
would,
you.
I would love to do a panto with you. I think it would be hilarious. So I'm
Oh,
shouting out to the Brindley
yeah,
Theatre
the Brinley.
to get
I'll
on
get
to
you
me
in.
and Charlie as a double act because I reckon we'd
Yeah,
smash it.
we should have been the Ugly Sisters this year. I was trying to
Oh,
get them to get me to be an ugly sister, but they wanted men to do it.
oh,
I mean, I've been an
that's.
ugly sister before. I've been
I
an
tell
ugly
you
sister
what,
before.
that's a contentious thing, isn't it? In this day and age, we've got to let's skip that. Like after the conversation, right? We want you to play an ugly sister, but we want a man to play it.
Yeah,
Right? But that's a
yeah,
weird tradition in panto, isn't it? It's like the
yeah,
role reversals. It's like it's always been like that.
yeah. The
Yeah,
men play the women and the women play the men.
yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe pantos have had it right all along, and we thought it was daft, and that was the way it always was going to head.
exactly.
Who
But
knows?
do you know what? Do you know what the funny thing is? It's I don't know if you get this, but when I was doing theatre and people hadn't seen me for a while, they go, "You still doing your little plays?" Ah,
Oh, that's odd. I've had that. Yeah, I've had that.
it's like what? Me career? Yeah, me little plays. You still
Oh,
doing your little plays? Oh, it's so
oh.
frustrating. Me,
So
so
some people
frustrating.
can be so patronising without meaning to be, but you know
I
what?
know.
It gets to a point where it's funny, isn't it? It's just really funny.
Yeah, it's all
But
part of it, isn't
yeah, Charlie, honest to God, right? Thank you so much.
it?
This has been one of the funnest one of these I've done up to now. It's just felt so relaxed, so normal, so chatty. And, you know, I'm sure we've not covered things that we were intending to cover, but we've covered so
I
much.
know, yeah.
So much. So anyway, thank you very much for coming on Airtime John in conversation with. What have they got to do now?
What do you mean? What have they got to do?
The viewers.
Oh, they've got to click. They've got to click like and subscribe.
Yeah. And tell people, because, you know, it helps me out. Other people watch it, gives me incentive to keep doing them. No one likes to talk to themselves, do they? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And check out all the other videos as well about your slim and well journey, the roller coasters, and mental health journeys. Check out all that. He's covering all kinds.
Well, thank you for that, Charlie. Thank you. Thank you. I'll probably be on the other side when you do that, so it'll look. I always do that, and then it's the person's like that side. But anyway, no, thank you very much for watching Airtime John in conversation with Charlie.Griffiths. Do check out the other videos, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you very, very much, the amazingly talented Charlie.Griffiths. See you soon.
See you soon.
She's awful, really.